How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Sector 6, and today we're going to be talking about the recently announced and pretty obvious that it was coming, Final Fantasy XVI DLC. But on top of that, we've got a couple of other Final Fantasy XVI based things to chat about, and we're also going to speculate a little bit as to what this DLC could be, because I've got a couple of ideas. I mean, I think you know one of them. I think everybody knows one of them. It's going to be Leviathan, right? Please drop a like on the video and subscribe for future content. We're going to have plenty more news coming. We've got Ever Crisis videos coming in the next few days because Ever Crisis drops very soon. We've got speculation regarding Rebirth content because we've got Tokyo Game Show coming up very soon. So I would expect that we're going to start seeing some stuff over the next week or two. I think things are going to start speeding up. So yeah, make sure you hit that sub button and you're about because we're going to be talking about it. But let's talk about this FF16 announcement. So the announcement came when Yoshi P appeared via a recorded message at PAX West, and he went over a few things. He was talking about FF16 in general, but the things that we're interested in is what we're going to get going forwards. So first things first, there's been a free update for Final Fantasy XVI, which dropped yesterday, I believe, on the 2nd of September. That gives access to things like alternate costumes for the characters, so you'll be able to select some different costumes. There's a little bit of customizability that you can put into your characters. On top of that, we've got further customizability with weapon skins. So with Clive, you get a weapon that's got a higher number, you're obviously going to use that one. Now, if you've got a weapon that you prefer the look of, but it isn't your strongest weapon, you can use that weapon's appearance on your strongest weapon. So it's just, again, more customizability things, letting you carry the weapon that you think looks the best while not losing out on any stats or anything like that. There's going to be an Onion Sword which is available for everybody, which is a nod to Final Fantasy III and the Onion Knights and all that sort of business. And there's going to be some gameplay tweaks, like tweaking the window for using iconic abilities when you've parried an attack and things like that. There's a full list of the changes that have been made in this patch. I'll leave a link in the description to the video so you can go and check it out if you want. But that's the main things that we're getting. Mainly customizability, costumes for your characters, weapon appearance customizability, and yeah, a couple of tweaks. Now on top of that, Yoshida went on to announce that we are going to be getting a PC version of Final Fantasy XVI, which was pretty obviously going to happen. And Yoshida says we will get more details on the PC version and like what kind of release window we're looking at by the end of the year. So I would guess either at Tokyo Game Show or the Game Awards, we'll probably get some information then. But then came the big one that we all knew was obviously going to come, is like the worst kept secret, I think, DLC. So there's going to be 2 paid DLCs for Final Fantasy XVI, which I wasn't expecting. I thought we'd probably just get 1, but apparently we're getting 2. No details on like what the subjects of these DLCs are going to be. Apparently it's similar to the PC version of the game. We'll get further updates later on in the year. Again, I'm going to guess Tokyo Game Show or the Game Awards. It's starting to feel like it might actually be the Game Awards around that kind of time. Closer towards the end of the year, you know, when they've got a little bit more that they can actually come out and say. On top of that as well, I'm not sure if it was announced during the same show or anything like that, but I have seen Final Fantasy XVI music is coming to Theatrhythm. So if you've got Theatrhythm and you've got access to Season Pass 3, you will be able to play 11 songs from Final Fantasy XVI, and that'll be dropping on November 1st. So November 1st we'll get this Theatrhythm DLC pack, which gives us all the Final Fantasy XVI music, and then about a month later, we've got the Game Awards, December the 7th? 6th? 7th? Somewhere around there. We've got that coming in, and that'll probably be where we get some announcement. You know, keep the hype going throughout the year. I feel like Rebirth's going to get most of the focus now, FF7 and FF7 Rebirth. So yeah, I expect any announcement of DLC will probably be quite a brief thing. It'll probably be only for one of them as well. I don't think we'll get both at the same time, obviously. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. We'll see what kind of info comes out. But it's time for what I tend to do a lot on this channel, and it's rampant speculation. Because, you know, these DLCs have got to have a story to them, so let's try and guess what that story could be. Where are the biggest gaping holes in Final Fantasy XVI story? And I'll be honest, there aren't massively gaping holes. There is a lot of things that we could do with seeing, though. Now, one of these is going to be to do with Leviathan, 100% one DLC Leviathan. I don't know how you could suggest it wouldn't be. You know, they've put that line in there for Leviathan, the Lost. We had the leak that came out in January that said Leviathan's in the game but not in the game, it will be DLC. So we all knew this was coming. Leviathan DLC. Guaranteed. That's one of them. What kind of DLC it's going to be is kind of interesting though. Is it going to be something that kind of looks at Leviathan in present day? and kind of tries to find Leviathan the Lost? Is it kind of going to show us where Leviathan the Lost is? Or is it going to be set in the past? And is it going to give us the actual story of what happened with Leviathan and with Zemeckis, and by extension gives us the story of the Fallen and the previous attempts to usurp Ultima's power? So that'd be pretty cool. We'd get information on that big gaping hole in the middle of the landscape. We'd get information on Leviathan, of course. We'd get some fleshing out of maybe the earlier stages of Valistea. It feels a bit big, though, to be a DLC. I don't know. I feel like if we were to delve into this fallen civilization and Leviathan, it'd probably end up being a bit too big of a project, which kind of makes me think that's not what we're going to get. That's what I want. That is 100% what I would want from a DLC. I'd want to know what happened exactly with Leviathan. Not where Leviathan is now, because the story does kind of wrap up in a neat little bow, let's be honest with you. It doesn't feel like there's more to do after the story. It feels like that is the end for me. So, yeah, going back into the past to look at Leviathan feels like the better option. But then that leaves us with one DLC remaining, and, you know, what are we going to look at for this other DLC? Now, there are a few possibilities. We've got like the Outer Continent and things like that we could kind of look into, because we have no information about the Outer Continent. We've not seen it, we've not been... I mean, we have little tiny bits of information, but nothing substantial. So that could be an interesting place for us to go and, like, take part in a DLC. If that was going to be the case, I'd guess it'd probably be Sid or mid-based. Like, if it's Sid-based, it'd be in the past. If it's mid-based, it'd be more of the future. Maybe mid goes on a little exploration after everything that's gone down and we get something completely different. I don't know if that'd work, though. I think if we're looking at the Outer Continent as well, there is a possibility that maybe Clive comes back into it, because there is ambiguity surrounding Clive's fate and what goes on, you know, as the credits roll. So, you never know, we could see Clive going forwards. We could even see it kind of packed into a point in Final Fantasy XVI that we wouldn't expect. Maybe we get something that kind of revolves around Clive doing stuff when he was under the control of the Sanbreque Empire. Maybe that's something we could look into as well for a DLC. But my personal shout for the second DLC is something focused on Waloed. Because think about it, we were barely in Waloed, we don't really know that many characters from there. By the time we get there, everybody's dead, pretty much. Like, it's all already gone to shit in Waloed. So it'd be interesting to see Waloed before Barnabas' arrival, and maybe see the effect of Barnabas arriving. If that's the case, we'd have a lot of characters that we already know from Final Fantasy XVI, and to be fair, a few characters that we'd have liked a bit more of, like Sid. He goes quite early, I would have liked more time with Sid. Benedicta goes extremely early, I would have liked a bit more time with Benedicta. Barnabas, I mean, I didn't like Barnabas in the game, I thought he was a bit of a disappointment. So if we do get more Barnabas, obviously we will if it's going to be a Waloed-focused story. But I'd hope that they can put a bit more into him and maybe make him a bit more grounded. Because he just came across as just a weird fanatic at the end of Final Fantasy XVI when you finally get to him. And it didn't do it for me, it really didn't. But yeah, something focused on Waloed I think might be the best shout. Especially if the Leviathan DLC also focuses on the past. Then it would be both DLCs are focusing on the past of the world of Valistea, fleshing it out so that the events that happen in Final Fantasy XVI have a little bit more impact. That's my thoughts on it anyway. They're my two most likely shouts for a DLC for Final Fantasy XVI. Let me know what you think Final Fantasy XVI's DLCs could be. I mean, let's be honest, one of them's definitely Leviathan. But what kind of angle do you think they're going to take with it? Do you think it's going to be something set in the future, in the past? What do we get? What are they going to do with Leviathan? And there will be a whole second DLC there. Unless they make 2 Leviathan DLCs, which would be ludicrous. So, yeah, let me know what you're thinking as far as the DLCs go. Don't forget, like the video, subscribe to future content, share it around, talk about it, do all of the things. But more importantly than anything, have a great day.